Well, hello there again. So this will be another anime pickup that I watched, and this series is another series of the Gundam series, and in this case the series that I'm talking is the first season of Mobile Suit Gundam 00 that aired between 6th of October of 27 until 29 of March of 28, the first season. And the series was directed by Seiji Mizushima and was written by Yosuke Kuroda, and the studio that made the series was Sunrise, and it aired in MBS network and TBS network, uh, and well this is how can I say this? This first season, I did not watch the second season, but I will only be talking about the first season when I finish watching the second season and the movie. Eventually, I will make another final impressions video. But for now, the series basically is set in 2307 AD, Anno Domini, and it's the first series that actually follows our, let's say, time chronology, our normal time chronology, and basically set in a future reality where the depletion of the fossil fuels like oil and such, and mankind basically need to have another source of power. And the solution that they came to was the collecting solar energy. And to do that, they built three orbital elevators that each of one of each of them is controlled by one of the major groups or factions or alliances that exist at this time. We have the Union, basically is the United States and great part of the Americas. We have the Human Reform League, that basically is an alliance made by China, Russia, and India. And we have the AEU that basically controls great part of Europe, and is kind of the upgraded version of the European Union that exists today. And it's very interesting because we have the beginning of the series. We have the E A EU AEU kind of doing show up of a demonstration of a new mobile suit, and then there appear the Gundam that basically attack this new mobile suit and basically destroy it, and then it will withdraw. And after that we have also another intervention that is one of the orbital elevators that is controlled by HRL, the Human Reform League, and they basically prevented a group of terrorists from a minor country of organization basically to blow up the orbital elevator or the station. the space station. And then this group eventually presents himself to the world as being an organization called Celestial Being, which goal is basically to eradicate war from all the world and unite humanity uh, through the use of four highly advanced uh, machines called the Gundams. Um, and the pilots of the Gundams in this series were called Gundam Meisters. And we have four guys that are the main cast. One is called Setsuna F. Seihei, that was born in the Republic of Travis, that is roughly the region of Kurdistan, and that this country was destroyed by another one called Azadistan, that basically represents current day Iran and other territories in the area of the Caspian Sea and the Caucasus Mountains. Um, and The other characters are, for instance, the other pilots were Locon Stratos, um, that his real name is Neil Delandy, and he is Irish. That basically, when he was younger, his parents and younger sister were killed during a terrorist bombing attack, and he's kinda, or he acts kinda the team leader of the, the, the group. Um, and as a little device called Arrow that basically is the thing that allows him to control is a Gundam. We also in this first season we learn that he has a younger brother called Lyle Delandy that only appeared one or two times during the first season, but never as active uh, uh, player in the series. Then the other pilot is a guy called Alleluia Aptism, and this guy is a former super soldier of the HRL, and he was designated as E57, and in the files he appears as a failed experiment, but eventually kind of escaped and kind of became the pilot, and he is kind of very psychotic, because these guys do suffer of multiple personality syndrome, and basically when he is not fighting he is one person, and when he is fighting he is another completely different person. And then we have the fourth one called Thierry Erde. Um, and we have other very interesting characters. The ship where they are, that serves as their main basis, is called the Ptolemaios, and the ship is led by Sumeragi Lee Noriega. We also have other characters: Felt Grace, Christina Sierra, Lichtendal Zeri, Lasse Aeon, Joyce Moreno, Ian Vasti, Milena Vasti, Linda Vasti, but these only appear on season 2. And then we have the main other players in the series. For instance, from the Union we have a guy called Raman Aker, that is one of the antagonists, even if I do not consider him antagonist. We have Billy Katagiri, we have other guys that die during the series. Then from the HRL we have a very interesting character called Sergei Smirnov, that is the guy in charge of hunt down the Gundams from the part of this government with the help of some Apiris. And then we have the AEU, and we have, well, the comic relief of the series, a guy called Patrick Colosser, and we have Katie Mannequin, that I think that this character will play a very big role on the second season. And then we have other characters. For instance, we have Ali Al Sashes, but that basically is the big one of the big villains of the series, and is the commanding officer of the KPSA terrorist group that trained Setsuna when he was younger. He's a sadist, a psychopath, and basically he simply wants to make war continuous forever because he is a war maniac. And eventually, near the end of the series, he does get ends on a Gundam that appeared later on the series, one of the Gundam Trinities, and eventually is defeated at the end of the first season, but we never see him die. And then we have the great villain, the mastermind behind those stuff that happened, is a guy called Alexandro Corner, that basically is appear initially as an observer of Celestial Being, helped by a guy called Ribbons, that I already read that this guy will play a very big role on the second season. And he is also a diplomat of the United Nations. Um, and because basically this guy wants to rule the world, and do not intends to follow the plans of how is the name? Iola Shenbar, that is the founder of the Celestial Being group that lived 200 years before the beginning of the series, and from his time he kinda started the process of building the Gundams, and he is also the man that is behind the theoretical basis for the construction of the orbital elevators, the use of photovoltaic energy systems and such. He was a very brilliant scientist. And then we have two other characters that called Wang Liu Mei and Hong Long, that were kinda also agents of Celestial Being, but they kinda their ulterior motives, well, are quite shady in the list. And then we have other characters that were important, but the series, what I must say is, the setting up of the series is very interesting because it happens in our time frame in the distant future. Indeed, that's interesting. Also, it addresses questions that still are discussed today. What will we do when the fossil fuels ended? Because, as you know, fossil fuels have a date time to end, and eventually it will happen. It's inevitable. The oil, charcoal, and others are not eternal. So, and this series, the background of using alternative energies, how mankind will survive, and such, is very interesting. I must say that I'm not fond of the characters of the series. I must say I'm even more fond of the guys from the Union or others that fought against Celestial Being than the Celestial Being pilots. Even if I do recognize, and I was quite upset when one of the Gundam Masters died near the end of the series. It's the most sane of them that's Loco Stratos. And he ends up being killed in battle, and he was my favorite character, honestly. And it was quite a shock when the guy died. Um, because the others are completely insane, and even the, the antagonists, in a way, are completely insane. Well, this series is insane. I must recognize that I like the battle scenes. They have great animation in some battles. They were very well done. The soundtrack is epic on a good old-fashioned way. It's kind of militarist and heroic and such. And I like the soundtrack, and the overall story is interesting. The one of the parts that is most annoying are two characters that appear through all the series. A girl, a blonde girl called Louise, and a guy called Saji. And when you watch the series, when you see episodes of them appearing from nowhere or during the series, they do not make much sense why they are here, because they are not involved in the war. Well, in the least, not directly. They get involved later on, but I never understood why these guys are appearing in the series. Now I did read something about them, and well, that was my only conclusion when I watching the series. I was thinking, well, these characters are appearing, but they do not have any role in the season. So if there are a second season, I guess these two characters will play an important role in the second season, and um, because that was the only thing that makes sense for them to appearing during all the first season, but not doing anything of special during that season. And I did read that indeed these two characters will become very important characters in the second season, so I'm looking forward to it. So, well, I do like the series. I like the background, the story. I like they kind of try to keep it real. Not it's not a very prefabricated world. They actually use real-time conflicts, real-time organizations as base. So this was a very interesting and different series, and I like it. So I'm looking forward to watch the second season and the movie that I also understand that happens after the end of the second season. So when I finish it, I will also make another final impressions video on it. For now, that's all. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Stay well. Peace. See you soon.